Happy Friday Eve, everybody, as we always hear on the About That Water podcast, where we help you build strong financial habits as we talk about the lifestyles of the things that you purchase and your day to day things that you like to do. I'm your host, Anthony, and today I am going to talk about what, how are Americans unhappy? Because everybody wants to come here from other countries, but why are we so unhappy? It's one of the things I want to dive into. But before we do that, gotta pay the bill. So let's play this intro. See you guys in a new beat. Actually, you know what? I ain't gonna play my intro. I'll play this other. I created a nice, you know what? I mean, I paid somebody to do this work, so might as well put in the work, right?
In a world where Welcome to the About That Water Show, where building strong financial concepts, strategies, and behaviors has never been so easy to comprehend. Now, here's your host, Anthony Weaver.
All right. So, one of the things about I want to talk about today is that having that issue with following up on why do we do what we do? And because I was having a discussion today at work with somebody, just talking about happiness in general. It's like, seeing the glass half full or seeing it half empty. Is it something that we can look at it from a perspective point of view? Is this something that is wrong with me for looking at it half empty? Or is it something wrong with the person that I'm having a conversation with to look at it half full? And I think that's something that all of us can definitely take away from it all is, how are you feeling today? How are you really feeling internally? Are you excited about what's going on in your life? And if you feel as though this is not one of those moments or one of these times that you just don't feel happy, it's okay. Because sometimes we have to look at it half empty to realize, like, hey, something is missing. Something isn't there. Something is not fulfilling me to the fullest, like to my best ability. And why is it that I cannot find a way to make things be whole again? Or is that something that you're dwelling in the past? Do you even need to care about what was going on in the past? So why is it not there? And just kind of move forward and just be happy with what you have. So this is get me to understand. It's like, well, what the heck is this happiness? How do we even get to understanding what is happiness if we never really took a deep dive in? You keep hearing about it in the news. We got the State of the Union coming up in an hour or so here in the US, which will be streamed. Depending on how I feel, I might actually do like a reaction video with that, like a live reaction video just to kind of see how things are. So I'm not sure yet, but I'll see how things go. But so for right now, let me go ahead on and present to you a small little clip that I thought was pretty interesting. And if I can pull that up, just give me a moment here so everybody can see. And let's see what they got.
Experience. His name was Denis Diderot, most famous for his role in compiling one of the... In 1769 in Paris, a French philosopher wrote an essay about an unusual experience. His name was Denis Diderot, most famous for his role in compiling one of the first modern encyclopedias. In the essay, he describes how he'd come into possession of a new, luxurious red dressing gown. Rather than make him happy, it made him miserable. And the cause of that unhappiness is still being examined by psychologists and marketing professionals some 250 years later. The reason Diderot's new dressing gown was making him unhappy was that its beauty and luxury clashed with his other much shabbier possessions. Now all is discord, he wrote. The overall effect is lost. There's no longer any unity or beauty. This need for unity left him with a desire to upgrade his stuff so that it matched the luxury of his new dressing gown. Soon there was a new tapestry, new paintings, new prints, a new chair, armoire, a mirror, a new bureau, an expensive clock. Soon his whole apartment was completely transformed. As Diderot described it, the imperious dressing gown had imposed her new harmony upon his home. In 1988, anthropologist Grant McCracken coined the term Diderot effect to describe this desire for unity and how it shapes what we buy. At that time, many economists saw consumer goods in isolation, each one owned just for its function and utility, and therefore easily replaced if a cheaper or better version came along. McCracken argued differently. Rather than looking at possessions individually, he argued that things we own reflect our identity and place in society, and for this reason often belong in sets, held together by the force of the Diderot effect. So, a banker buys a Rolex to go with his BMW and bottle of Bollinger, or a hipster buys a graphic tee and beard oil to go with his overpriced and under-functioning bicycle. Now, sometimes the Diderot effect stops a consumer buying something, even if it's useful and a good price, because it doesn't fit with the set of goods that person already owns. But at other times, the appearance of something new, what McCracken calls a departure good, can lead to the run of consumption that Diderot observed with his dressing gown, each new purchase made to match the qualities of that new item. Now, Diderot may have observed this effect a long time ago, but even today his insights on why we buy are still used by one group of people, those who sell us stuff. For example, look at Apple. For many, the purchase of the iPhone was a departure good that led, via the Diderot effect, to them buying other Apple products, seeking the unity and beauty that would come with them having the complete set. This is also why it helps IKEA to put its products in branded groups. You come in to replace a chest of drawers, but the Diderot effect tempts you to get the bed, wardrobe, dressing table, and hat stand that seem to belong with it. The way things are laid out in stores works in a similar way. Each of these rooms is filled with items that go with the others, and together represent a whole new identity or lifestyle. If you can be tempted by one element of the set, the Diderot effect means a whole run of new purchases are likely to follow. In all these cases, marketers are taking advantage of the Diderot effect, each new purchase exerting a force on our other possessions, constantly pushing us to upgrade our stuff. Other writers looking at the Diderot effect, like Juliet Shaw in The Overspent American, have argued there is a cruelty to this never-ending escalator of desire. She argues often we're buying something because of a symbolic fantasy attached to it. In Diderot's case, perhaps he hoped that with the dressing gown would come the economic security of those who owned luxurious items just like it. Yet, Shaw argues, when we get the product, we don't get the thing that was promised to come with it. And this was true for Diderot, who despite getting the new gown wasn't rich. Perversely, he felt more free in his old gown, which he was more comfortable using to wipe dust from books or clean his pen nibs. As he wrote, I was absolute master of my old dressing gown, but I had become slave to my new one. His new gown had promised security and freedom, but in the end it trapped him. So, when you're shopping, imagining the life that will accompany the new and luxurious phone, chest of drawers, or dressing gown, try not to forget the benefits of the old and shabby.
Okay, so I really wanted to highlight that particular reel because I actually thought it was interesting to show that the things that we actually hope will bring us happiness and bring us joy is something that we tend to overthink and tend to not stay focused on what we want to do with our lives and how we feel about um, society and how we supposed to fit in that role. And one of the people that I actually had on my show before, which is Rakim Sabri, he recently did a on his show. He actually has a TV show, which I thought was actually pretty cool. And let me see if I could try to find that clip because one of the things that he and AJ had took a stab at, which was showing up in your financial self. So for those of you who just joined me, I just want to say thank you for joining this show. Please go ahead on and leave a comment, or actually wherever you are, just share it. If you're watching on X right now, go ahead on and share this episode out. Be interesting to see how this goes, because I think this is like the second time I actually streamed on X. But what we're going to be talking about is like how Americans are unhappy. And being unhappy with the things that we show up in is also determining on how we actually show up when we at the dinner table or when we out with our group of friends. What it is that we are trying to put on the front for, like, oh, okay, I got this money on this credit card, and I put my credit card down just to kind of pay for the whole table. Or do you just shy away? It's like, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna show out with the I don't know, the Discovery It card, which only gets like maybe 2% back, and try to show out for that. So I think this one is it. I did not queue this one up, but as that video was playing, I was thinking about it and was more than likely something that we could all kind of benefit from. Let's see if this is the one.
What is outside of
So
recognizing your
Rakim, if you're
safety and
watching,
understanding how the brain works?
this.
I don't want to say against you, but against,
Okay, so this is when you're talking with Dwayne.
because there is so much confusion out there around who can call themselves what doesn't.
Okay, not that one.
Real. Please be nice to yourself. When you want to be mean to yourself, stop. Just stop and say something nice to yourself. You can say that mean thing, but then back it up with something nice about yourself, because we are awful to ourselves and it does not help anything at all, ever. So be nice. Real. Please be.
Okay, so this one was talking about being nice, but also it comes to being happy with who you are and where you've come from. And how do we get to those levels? I need to find the one where she's
Big, it feels overwhelming to them. But sometimes we need to break it down, and that sometimes means that you need the education to understand. So if you have those two pieces, now how do you break down those goals? Like, am I saving tens of thousands of dollars in a month if I'm not making that much money? No, no. But what can we do? Does that mean you need to look at your spending plan or your budget differently? Just taking the small steps and celebrating your wins. People do not give themselves any kind of grace. People just expect that I know what a budget is. Keep to the budget. I made a mistake. I'm messed up. I'm awful. I'm this, I'm that. Shame, shame, shame. Terrible. Big. It feels overwhelming to them. But sometimes we need to break it down, and that sometimes means that you need the education to understand. So if you have those two pieces, now how do you break down those goals? Like, am I saving tens of thousands of dollars in a month if I'm not making that much money? No, no. But what can we do? Does that mean you need to look at your spending plan or your.
Yeah, so she's going on a couple things. I really need to find this. I feel so bad right now that on how to find the right thing.
Understand the background in that. And so I started to talk about money through the lens of my experience and the education on the job, right? And it just kind of married those two things. And so I started really focusing on financial trauma and calling it that, excuse me, thinking that I came up with the term, not realizing that people have done work for years and years and years on this. And so, excuse me, it's so interesting that we come from these very different backgrounds, but we found ourselves in the same spot, helping people reconcile what are their feelings and what are their behaviors and habits around money.
Exactly. That's it.
Understand the background in that. And so I started to talk about money.
I'm not sure. I need to find this. So this is really irritating me right now. Give me one moment while I go to find this video. But I think I did create a little commercial so that you guys can check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Music. Hold on. Does it have music? Let me try this again. You're listening to the About That Wallet podcast. We'll be right back after these messages.
Even the best and the brightest this world has to offer have coaches and mentors. Build strong money-making behaviors by applying financial concepts and strategies with Anthony Weaver on the About That Wallet Show. It's time to get off the bench and get in the game. Now, here's your host, Anthony Weaver.
Hey, that was nice and sweet. What do y'all got to think about that? You know what I'm saying? I put in a little bit of work with that one. I was actually having a little bit of fun. So, one of the things I'm trying to log into my LinkedIn account because one of the clips that I want to share with you all is something that I think will be great to discuss when it comes to feeling that sense of happiness and pride of being the not just the only one, but one of the people that actually have been stepping up and actually showing out on what it is that you enjoy. And sometimes when you're just the only one, it is hurtful because you're not part of the group. And because you're not part of the group, like you're part of the group, but it's almost like all eyes on you, and almost like an all eyes on me type situation where, say, if you were to show up, with the AMX Platinum card one day, and I was like, "Ooh, you got all the money, big money, woo!" And it's not really that. It's just that, like, hey, I just happen to do well with this credit card that I decide to choose. You decide to choose another credit card. I'm not, ooh, you got the Bank of America credit card. Yay. Um, I know I crack myself up on these, but I actually enjoy it. Anyway, the beauty of having the understanding of what it is that makes you happy, you should not have to turn down yourself or turn down your light just to let somebody else shine. You should be excited. I don't say should. It's okay to be excited for how far you've come. It's okay for being the person that you always wanted to be. And it is okay for you to not get it right the first time. So we want to start looking at things from the bottom up. Like, hey, the glass is half full. So I was like, all right, are there any articles out there really talking about this topic? Because, what are we doing at the end of the day? Are you truly excited about where you at right now? Just leave a comment whatever platform you're on, listening to my voice. Are you really excited or really happy with the way how things are in your life? Because one of the things that we all don't take a moment or enough time to is actually thank ourselves for how far we've come and how little uh, respect that we give ourselves for the amount of work that we put in on a day-to-day basis. Like, finally found it. Okay, so I'm gonna share this with you guys. Scroll this back. Okay, share this tab. That's the only thing about doing these live, and so most of you who follow me already know that my lives are, you get what you get. Okay, so let me see if I can play that. Move that out the way.
I found that
Get
my
some
self-esteem was
audio up in
slipping
here. See if we
in
can spread
terms
it.
of like feeling like I need.
All right, so this one
I
was
found
okay.
that my self-esteem was slipping in terms of like feeling like I needed to show up a certain way. Like I needed to be able to put my card down at the group dinner. I needed to be able to buy the round of drinks for people here and there. And I was like, why can everybody else do this and I can't? And it felt bad to me. So I just kind of sat in those feelings and internalized them until my cousin Tim, I saw him at Easter dinner in Brooklyn, and he was like, well, Asia, like, have you looked into personal finance? Have you looked into just kind of learning more and financial education in general? I was like, no. So that was the beginning of my process. And I went ham and I could not stop consuming information about personal finance.
I really want to play that one more time because she brought up something really cool. Is that when you actually have somebody that's planting a seed, is sometimes a seed is not just information. A seed could be something that caused you to rethink the way how things are in your life right now. So let's listen to it one more time.
I found that my self-esteem was slipping in terms of like feeling like I needed to show up a certain way. Like I needed to be able to put my card down at the group dinner. I needed to be able to buy the round of drinks for people here and there. And I was like, why can everybody else do this and I can't? And it felt bad to me. So I just kind of sat on in those feelings and internalized them until my cousin Tim, I saw him at Easter dinner in Brooklyn, and he was like, well, Asia, like, have you looked into personal finance? Have you looked into just kind of learning more and financial education in general? I was like, no. So that was the beginning of my process. And I went ham and I could not stop consuming information about personal finance.
So this show really is supposed to be, this is what I want this show to be. I want this show to be your reason for taking a moment to take a deep dive into your finances. The reason why you're super excited to make that change. Because right now, a lot of us might not be happy the way how life is going right now, but you have the power to, one, unlearn everything that you've been taught, and then take that moment to actually start learning again. Because in order for you to receive something, you cannot receive something with a closed fist. You have to open it up. You have to let things go in order to receive something. If you want to give a hug, you don't give a hug like, let me hug you right quick. Like, what kind of hug is that? Like, you actually open up your hands, you letting somebody in. This is what I want for you right now. If you're listening right now, if you're at your chair, I just want you to open up your arms just really wide and just relax and breathe and say, money will come to me in all forms of fashion, along with happiness and joy and health and wealth. Now you can bring your arms down and just kind of take that in and breathe out slowly. The reason why I want you to do that is because you're opening up yourself to the world. You say, like, hey, I'm here. Let's attract. Let's get this right. Because happiness is something that I do not want you to lose. And happiness is something that can actually shape or break, really can actually have a huge impact on your finances. Have you ever been going to work and you just like, oh man, I'm just in the parking lot, just like, let me just get another 10 minutes on my phone. I really don't want to go in here and deal with the supervisor BS anymore. I don't want to deal with my coworkers. I just want to sit for a moment and think. But, or do you have those times where you come into work like, yeah, I'm super excited. I just want to go in, help out, whatever. This is the reason why I got this job, is so I can do whatever. And having that moment to understand on what you want to do when you do the activity, to bring in that joy to help somebody else, you'll be surprised on how joyful you'll be. Now, one of the tactics, this is a tactic, you can write this one down, is fake it until you make it. Now, you hear about faking it until you make it all the time. The reason why I'm saying fake it, you can fake your happiness. And there's definitely studies on that. There was a TED talk talking about doing fake laughter. So if you actually sit down, you can do this right now. This is kind of a little fun activity that the person talked about. I cannot recall this lady's name, but if you look it up, TED Talk, I think it's like fake laughter or something like that. And you just sit there and just start laughing like, ha, 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 ha. And if you keep doing it, then you be realizing that you actually start laughing on your own. And so I want you to try that right now. All right, just do a big one like ha 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 ha. And it becomes funny again. So it's like no matter what's going on in your life, if you fake laugh, you'll be surprised on how this actually works. So if you just go up to somebody and just start laughing at them, they might think you're crazy. But I want you to do this exercise either with your friend. You can find your child if you have children. If you don't have anybody, it's okay. If you want to call me, you can call me right now. We can just have a laugh and I will sit here and fake laugh with you. And if you do want to call me, the phone number to the show, if you want to call my number, let me see, make sure I link this up. If you do want to call me, let me expand everything. Is 833-699-2558. So we're trying to move to a solution space. Now we already acknowledge that being unhappy is not where we want to be. It's not the state that we want to stay in forever, but it's a state that we actually recognize that it's there. We want to start looking into now, let's bring this happiness into our lives. Let's open ourselves up to having this laugh. And if you do want to call, you can call me now at 833-699-2558 and we can laugh together. But if you don't want to laugh with me, it's okay. I'm gonna laugh anyway. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Like I sound like a pirate. Like, ha ha, matey. I'm here to steal your booty. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. It's like, what? It doesn't make sense. But it put a smile on my face. And I hopefully put a smile on your face. So one of the things that, those are two tactics that I want you to do is fake it until you make it and actually give yourself a chuckle before you go into work or whatever. Now, I did ask Gemini because, ChatGPT has been doing this thing, but I was like, let me check out Gemini to see what it has to say on happiness. But before we get there, I just want to say, I'm going to take a quick break to introduce my book that I recently wrote, which is my habit journal. It's a very short one. So if you're out there and you haven't had a moment, just go head on and over to the Amazon and type in Habit Journal Anthony Weaver, and you will be able to have your own journal to talk about all of your habits day in and day out. So please make sure you go to Amazon.com and search Habit Journal About That Wallet. Habit Journal Anthony Weaver. And it will pop up. Look for the lion in the gold lettering. All right, get yours today and start your habit journal right away. Hey, what y'all guys think about my little quick ad for my own book? Like, why not, right? It's my own show. Can do what I want. But yeah, so all right. So we got Gemini showing up here. Let me add that to the stream. Make it nice and big. You zoom in on this bad boy. Let's see. So one of the things that I asked Gemini, I asked these questions early on because I didn't want to hold up, with me searching all these fun things. So the first thing I added, which is, why are Americans unhappy? They said there are a number of factors contributing to unhappiness among Americans. Here are some of the big ones. Economic issues, rising costs, particularly inflation, are outpacing the wage growth of many people. This can make it difficult to afford basic necessities and can lead to financial stress. CBS News here. Oh, they probably got this from CBS News. So the next one is from, it looked like the Pew Research Center. And this one is talking about the political dissatisfaction. There's a deep divide along political lines, and many people feel the political system isn't working well. And then the last one here, as far as the social isolation, which is from NBC News, says that loneliness is on the rise, possibly due to part of social distancing measures taken during the pandemic. So a lot of people right now are still feeling that punch since the pandemic. And I think that's one of the things that we need to look at is how are you addressing those? For me, addressing the loneliness is that I'm actually throwing these lives on Thursdays. And since the pandemic, I actually started this whole podcast. It's because, I really wanted to communicate with people on the things that I was learning. And having that impact on me is with you guys' feedback. It was at least letting me know that somebody is listening. So if you actually live right now, you just want to share, your story, or even just say, hey, that is a great communication with me. At least let me know that I'm not alone right now. And it does feel alone a little bit when it's come to podcasting. For those of you who are podcasters, you know that this is a lonely venture. We sit here and we do all this fun things, and we thinking somebody would like listening to it, but we don't really know until we get feedback from somebody else is watching it. It was like, oh, we look at the data like days later, like, oh, somebody actually listened to this episode. That's how shocking we are about it. So when it comes to loneliness and isolation, this is the reason why a lot of people do what they do, because they just want to be heard sometimes. We want to be heard. We're kind of lonely. But so then I asked it, well, what is happiness? And it says happiness is a complex and subjective experience. So there's no single definition that everyone agrees on. But psychologists generally describe it as a state of well-being characterized by positive emotions and a sense of satisfaction with life. Okay, so here's some factors that they say, some aspects of happiness. It's more than just fleeting joy. Happiness isn't about feeling good in the moment. It also involves a sense of contentment and fulfillment, and a feeling that your life is moving in a positive direction. Now, this is a second bullet saying that it's not about consistent euphoria. Everyone experiences negative emotions sometimes. Happy people tend to be resilient and able to bounce back from setbacks. So this is almost like a very well mind type person, or it's actually from the website very well mind. I'm not sure. It didn't say. The third bullet, it says it can involve different things for different people. What makes one person happy might not make another person happy. It depends on your values, goals, and personality. Now, one of the things I want you to think about is when it comes to your goals in life, are you actually achieving those goals? Whether it's financial, biblical, when it comes to your family life, are you happy in your health? Are you happy the way how you sleep? Are you happy in your relationships? And these are the things that we need to start thinking of when it comes to happiness. Are we thinking about it holistically? Or are we thinking about it independently for different areas in our lives? Now, for me personally, I try to think about it overall, but there's some areas in my life where I feel as though, yes, I could do better. I'm not 100%, I'm not like, super duper happy, but there's some other areas where I'm like, I did do that thing. Glass is half full on this one. You know what I'm saying? Like I made some progress. So one of the things that I'm not happy with is my health. I, tend to not do as many push-ups or sit-ups as I used to. I'm not out there, you know, rocking it out like I was supposed to. I'm not out there doing my runs, and I'm not doing all of these other things. But I'm trying to. I won't say that I'm trying, because if I'm trying something, I'll actually do it. There is no try. There's only do. And one of the things that I've asked one of my listeners, I asked her, was like, how do you maintain a, working out every day? What are your thought process on that? Because I was trying to steer away from, why do you do it, more so of like how, because she was saying it's like she just does it, just set time out 20 minutes a day to start working out. And I was like, huh. And then I started thinking to myself, why am I not even taking 10% out of the day, which is only 20 minutes? You got 24 hours. So let's round up, not really round up, but let's take it up one extra minute. So 25 minutes. Why am I not taking 25 minutes out of my day to do an exercise, which is only 1%? And that's really sad that I'm not even taking that moment. to make sure that I can do that? What is it in something that's in 20 minutes that you can do today to kind of help your happiness in a particular area in your life? So, and it goes back to far as what I was saying is in that last bullet, it depends on your values, goals, and personality. Is your goal in life is to show up for your child every day? Is your goal in life is to be able to run and play with your child in the sun or out in the grass and actually have that bond with your child because you didn't have that growing up? If your goal is to have that, then what steps are you doing every day to make that happen? And for me, like in my relationship, I take moment and take time out of my week to make sure I dedicate time to spend with my wife. If there's a moment, even every day, I try to take at least, more minimum. I do 20 minutes to spend time because obviously with work, doing the podcast, advertising, doing an email list, I'm doing a lot of stuff on the back end, getting prepped up for my talk and everything like that. It's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when it comes to running a podcast. But it's like running any business that you do. Are you really setting time out and prioritizing your life like you want? And if you feel as though that you're not, then this is the time to start asking yourself, why am I not making this a priority? Why am I not showing up for my child events? Why am I spending more time at work when I really value family? Am I actually taking the time out to better myself so I can spend more time with family? So these are the things that I want you to think about as you go through and trying to search for happiness. So let's bring back up Gemini again. And I was like, well, can money make you happy? And I was like, this sounds pretty cool. Can money really make you happy? And it was like, money's effect on happiness is interesting and has been researched quite a bit. Here is the breakdown. Money for basic needs contributes to happiness. Having enough money to cover food, shelter, healthcare, and other essentials relieves stress and allows you to focus on other aspects of life that bring you joy. Number 2, there's a happiness plateau after a certain income level. Studies suggest that happiness increases with income, but up to a certain point. Beyond that point, more money has a diminishing effect on happiness. And this is from the U.S. News and World Report. This level varies, with some research suggesting it is around $75,000 and others around $100,000 annually. Now, the third point is how you spend money matters more than how much you have. Research suggests that experiences and spending money on others can bring more happiness than buying material things. And this is from the Harvard Business Review. It further say, so money can buy happiness, but it's not a magic bullet. It's more about it's more about what money allows you to do. Reduce stress, spend time with loved ones, pursue passions rather than money itself. So I wanted to share that with you all because as we going out talking about all this stuff, trying to see all the songs that I got on this thing. So when it comes to money, yes, in a sense, it could buy you happiness, but indirectly, in a way that you really think that it doesn't, but it really does. It's almost like you're paying it forward with your happiness. Have you ever thought of giving somebody an awesome compliment because they did a really good job on something? Say if y'all want to give me a really good compliment on, hey, y'all doing a great job with this podcast. That makes me happy. And I'll definitely give you a shout out because that's part of me giving back and part of you actually helping me out as well. But I really want to say that I really do enjoy everything that you guys are doing. I do genuinely enjoy you for taking your time out of your day to watch this show and many other shows like this. One of the things I do want to share with you is that for those of you who haven't looked at the show notes yet, is that I will be speaking at the podcast movement evolutions. Let's see if I could share this up right quick. So I'll be speaking at Podcast Movement Evolutions because of you all for supporting this show over the years. And let me see if we can do Podcast Movement Evolutions. And if you use code 25 off Anthony, I'm not sure why they did that, but that's what they called it. You actually save $25 off of this, off of the event. So if you actually want to show up, you can. I actually do like I am for this song right here. I'm not sure what they did with it, but I rocks with it. Let's get up. So I will be speaking at Podcast Movement Evolutions on the 26th to the 29th in Los Angeles. So if you're in the area, stop on by. And if you want to look for a speaker, just go up here, type speakers, and you can search my name, my last name, and look, there I go. So my topic is talking about, that's more about me, what I'm talking about. Yeah, why podcast structure is important. So if you actually curious about podcasts and want to know why they're important and how to actually keep a structure and have fun like I am on my show all the time, just come on, stop by, because I'll like after the event, then I'll actually share with you guys on my presentation and how everything went, because I think it'll be fun. But anyway, yeah, so that is pretty much it for happiness, you guys. Like, I really want you to be happy. Now, one of the things that I remember to shut this down so that y'all know, to be happy, we talked about a couple things. Fake it until you make it. Let me make sure I'm big enough on this. First thing, make sure you fake it till you make it. What that means is you put on a fake face. Show up to work, make sure you're happy, put a smile on your face. That's what the Joker used to say on the Batman Returns movie. Put a smile on your face. And you'll be surprised how that works out. Number 2, you can actually fake laugh. And if you need to fake laugh with somebody, I'm always available to fake laugh with. Just leave a voicemail with you laughing. I'll love to play those back. And you can fake laugh with somebody else at work even. It's like, ha, 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 ha. Just show up and, you have your office buddy. You know who they are. You can fake laugh with them anytime. And then you have the opportunity to pay it forward. So you pay happiness forward by giving somebody a compliment. Just saying, hey, you know what? I really like that you showed up to work today. That minor thing, or you know what? You got some nice shoes on today. Or you know what? You always have on a clean shirt. It doesn't matter. But either way, it might put a smile on their face. So like, hey, somebody actually noticed me. I feel so happy right now. Like one of those moments that you'd be surprised. It's almost like saying hi, good morning to somebody can really make a difference in that person's life. So do that. And then I would say 4th is what we were talking about as far as that habit. Make it a habit every day. Enjoy the habit. Have fun with the habit of what you're doing. And I think that's something that you would really enjoy. Hey, what's going on? Bluebird is 009. You say, stay positive, find the silver lining in bad situations. That is a really good one. And you have to be in that right mindset as well to take advantage of, those different scenarios. So like, yeah, you might be going through the funk right now, but you know, take a moment to just calm your waters. And I say calm your waters because you can't calm all the waters. Everybody else going through some mess. If you can calm your waters and really take a look at yourself and reflect on it and say, like, you know what? This is my part in the situation. This was their part in the situation. I had to take ownership for the things that I've did. Now, how can we move forward? And what is it something that we can say? What is the positive behind it all? What did we actually gain because we went through this process? Do we gain resilience in ourselves? Do we gain confidence in ourselves? Do we gain respect for the other person for actually stepping up and actually voicing their opinion? Because a lot of times people do not voice their opinion. They always just like a yes person. And you're never going to have progress with a yes person. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, we could do this. Oh yeah, 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 that sounds cool. Oh yeah, 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 keep doing that. No, you need somebody to kind of say like, no, this ain't it. This ain't hitting. This isn't the right juice. But also, it's how you do it. You do it out of love. You have to know where that person's coming from, how everything is going. And I really thank you, Bluebird, for coming through, for sharing that. And yep, you said, yep, concentrate on what you can control. I believe I did something called control the controllables. And I think that's one of the things that we also can focus on as well. So please make sure that you guys are doing that. And it really does set the precedence of what it is that we really want to do. And if we can control our happiness, nobody can take that away. Even if they take all of your money, you can still put a smile on your face. There are some people who are just happy to be alive. Some people are just happy to wake up in a hospital today. Some people are just happy to have a moment with a loved one for the last time. You never know what that last moment is with that person that you're excited to be with. So take a moment. I want you, once this show is after you listen to the show, I really want you to look to the person that you really care about, or even if you're just thinking about them, and just say, you know what, I'm happy to be your friend. Even if you're in love with them, married to them, your kids or whatever, just say like, I'm happy to be your friend. Because, being a friend and being in love with somebody is two different things. You can love somebody, but you don't got to be their friend. You know what I'm saying? Like it can happen. Like you can love them from afar. Like, we good, but we're not that good. So yes, I want you to have that moment. And it does sound like I'm a little rambling on, but I really want to hone in on the fact that you have what it takes to control your happiness. And I just given you 4 different ways. Actually 5, because thank you, Bluebird. You gave the 5th one, which is seeing that silver lining. So for those of you who are just joining, the 5 things that you want to do to kind of help out with your happiness. 1 is to fake it until you make it. Fake your happiness if you have to until you start to believe in it. That is such a thing is true. You can do that. Secondly, you can laugh. You can almost force yourself. It's almost like another act. It's an actual action step to fake it till you make it. So that's why I'm putting it as number 2, because you can laugh. Just laugh with somebody. If you're having a bad day, just laugh with somebody, and you'll be surprised on how you actually lighten the mood. Thirdly, is pay your happiness forward. Tell somebody, hey, you know what? I like what you're doing today. I like your hairstyle. I like your earrings. Or just like, I like the way you're looking at things a little differently than I am. I like your perspective. Like, really give somebody a genuine happiness I guess you could say suggestion, maybe a comment. There we go. A happiness comment. And you know what? We were oh, you know what? I am happy to be your friend too, Bluebird. Let me see if I got some odds in here. There we go. You know what I'm saying? I'm touched. Let me see if I can do one of these. There we go. We give you some hearts, okay? On the screen. So one of the things I do enjoy with that is that I want you all to kind of take away from that is that all right, let's go back. So you paid your happiness forward. And number 4 is actually falling in love with the habit of doing it. And when I mean that habit is falling in love with the habit, don't fall in love with the outcome. Fall in love with the habit. That'd probably be a whole nother podcast episode on its own. But I want you guys to have that. And falling in love with its own is one of the major things that you want to do because hey, we got like 5 people. Let's go on and do a little celebration on the thing. So having that moment of clarity with yourself is one of the things that's very true. And yes, number 5, which is finding that positive silver lining on making sure these are action items that you can do to fulfill your happiness. Now, remember, I'm sure some of you guys saw Trolls. I got to end the show with this one because I actually do like Trolls. See if I can find it on YouTube. Yeah, that's it. Not even sure what website this is. Yeah, say you will never ever be happy. So one of the things that somebody ever tells you that you will never be happy, how do you feel about that? How do you feel if like, you know what, you're just not a happy person? How does that make you feel? I want you to think about that. Because that actually has an impact on how you actually treat life and how you actually view the world. Is also it's not what's being said, but also who says it. How many times have you heard that? Raise your hand if you ever heard that. Or just give me a thumbs up, something inside the comments to say, like, you know what, I've heard that before. The reason why I want you to hear that is because those people aren't right. They don't know you. They don't know you like I know you. All right, let's see what sure some of you guys have seen Trolls, so hopefully this works. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna try to.
I'll never, ever, never, ever, never be happy.
All right.
I'll never, ever, never, ever, never be happy.
Never. Never. Say never.
Chef, where did you come from? My father banished you 20 years ago. Have you been standing behind that plant this whole time?
If only, sire. No, I've been out in the wilderness, thinking of nothing but how I let you down. If only there was some way I could make you feel better.
Well, fat chance. The only way I'll ever be happy is by eating a troll, and that ain't gonna happen thanks to you.
But it just might, thanks to me.
You found the...
Yeah, this is the one I wanted. I wanted the one with the father. Y'all know which one I'm talking about? But he was like, "You never, ever, ever will be happy." Yeah, let me see if I can find this one.
Ever.
Will it play?
Be happy. You will never, ever, ever, ever be happy.
Now, having that, somebody saying that to you, and especially like your father or somebody that you have a true belief in, could impact you your whole life. And I want you to think about that, is that your words matter. So when you tell somebody you're happy to be in their presence, you're happy to be around them, you have that ability to control and mold them to their future. You will never know how far it will take them and how much it would impact the next person. So I want you to think about that today. All right. So with that being said, please make sure y'all go ahead on and subscribe to my newsletter. We're going to be talking about a lot of cool things in the coming weeks. I have a new episode out already, pre-recording. If you haven't seen it already, you can check it out right now. So this is going to be a sample because see, get this on here of Miss Eileen Slatko.
One, to be aware of it.
Mm.
When we think about money, it resonates in the same part of the limbic system in our brain where food and sex resonate. So you think about either of those two things, a little bit is good, a lot must be better. Spending money the same way. And so what we have to do is begin to try and decouple emotions. And the people who have had trauma around it have to look, all of us, our spending and saving investment habits often go back to when we were 6, 7 years old. We don't even recognize it. It's what we heard at the kitchen table, heard at the dining room table.
So that's just a sample of what Ms. Eileen Slacko said to say. And if you haven't checked out that episode, I highly recommend you to check it out because we talked about retirement, we talked about savings, and we talked about some of the spending habits post-retirement. And I really think this is something that everybody should take a listen to, no matter what part of your retirement structure you're a part of. And let's go down and get that out there. All right, everybody. Y'all be safe as always. It's been a pleasure. And again, I am happy to be your friend. And I'm happy that you're listening to this show. And please continue to be safe out there. And I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Y'all be safe. I'm out. Peace.